the scene on Jacksonville's west side, Timaquana and Seabourn. Two officers there shot, but we don't know their conditions at this time. We don't exactly know what's happened. We have been hearing from witnesses who live in the area that they saw a heavy police presence. One even told us that he saw two ambulances in the area because, once again, we did learn that two officers have been shot. But JSO asking for prayer for those officers. We don't know their conditions at this time, but we do have a crew at the hospital who is waiting to get more information for us, and they tell us that JSO is there at the hospital. We know that officers are normally taken to UF Health when they have been injured. But once again, you can see the video from UF Health on the left side of your screen. The video from the west side, there's a JSO car rushing right there to UF Health, probably trying to just kind of get the latest there. We don't know if the sheriff is at the hospital or exactly where he is right now or what he knows about the situation, but just a live look that we're taking of UF Health. Okay, I'm getting some new information right now. I've just learned that one officer is in critical condition and one officer is said to be stable at this time. Chari, where are we getting that information from? Twitter. Okay, so that information is coming to us from Twitter. I guess JSO just released that information to us about those two officers. So once again, one officer is in critical condition. Another officer who was shot is said to be stable at this time. So that's some new information that we can pass along to you tonight, that one officer shot is in critical condition and one officer shot is stable. So JSO, of course, still asking for prayers at this time for these officers as they try to recover from their injuries. So you're taking a look at a tweet there on your screen from JSO with that information that I just passed along to you. Also at this hour, we are waiting on a press conference to happen in Kissimmee involving two officers who were shot and killed in that area. That information coming to us from our affiliate there as we try to learn more about exactly what happened. The mayor asking for prayers, the governor even tweeting about this situation tonight, talking about the situation in our area and also the situation in Kissimmee. He's asking for prayers. I know he also met with FDLE after these shootings. So once again, a total of 4 officers shot in the state of Florida tonight. 2 shot and killed in Kissimmee, 2 shot in our area tonight. And JSO, the latest information coming in just 1 minute ago, that one officer is in critical condition and one officer shot is said to be stable at this time. So that officer who is in critical condition, of course, prayers are needed. These officers, they serve our community. They protect and serve us. So once again, if you can send your prayers, your thoughts to those officers and their families at this time. Okay, I'm getting some more information right now about one suspect involved in the situation. We know that that suspect is dead tonight. So once again, one suspect was shot by police. He died at the hospital, actually. So we just got that information from JSO. So we're still trying to learn exactly what happened in this situation. But we know that those officers were shot. One is said to be critical at this time, and we just learned that one suspect has died. That suspect died at the hospital, but we don't exactly know how that suspect was involved in this situation. We did have one witness who did not want to show their face. He says that he thinks that they may have been serving some type of warrant, but we don't have that confirmed. That's just someone on the scene who's telling us that. But you can see our crew there at UF Health who's waiting by at the hospital. They're right there next to a JSO car, police presence there at the scene. Is it possible, could we possibly go back out to Hani to tell us what she's seeing out there? Chari at the scene over on the west side as soon as we can, if you can get her ready to kind of maybe just give us a recap of the people she's been speaking to out there. But we're also, if you're just now joining us, we're also waiting for a press conference to happen in Kissimmee where 2 officers were shot and killed. Don't know the exact situation there, how those officers were shot and killed, what they were responding to when that happened. But let's go ahead and go back out to Hani Rodriguez. She's on the west side of Jacksonville tonight. Hani, what can you tell us right now?
Hey, Anthony, we are still on the scene. If you're joining us, this is what it looks like here on Timuquana and Seaboard Avenue. A heavy police presence, more than a dozen JSO patrol cars here on the scene. Sam's Discount Food Mart, if you're familiar with that, it is roped off and police are there. And then the liquor store here on Seaboard, right on the corner, that seems to be taped off as well. And then the scene continues down Seaboard Avenue. However, we are not able to cross the street and give you a closer look, but maybe our photographer can zoom in a little bit down that road just to show you those, police lights, and obviously a very active scene at this point. A little while ago, I saw some police crime scene vans roll up on the scene as well. I spoke to a witness who says he's heard more than 7 to 8 shots at least from his home earlier today, or earlier this evening rather. Again, he says he believes police were serving a warrant and perhaps the suspect fired back. Now, JSO did tweet exactly about a minute ago that a police officer was able to shoot back at the suspect, and that suspect died at the hospital. Now, there could be more people involved as well as more victims. We do not know that yet. We know that one of the officers is in critical condition, and the other one obviously has also suffered injuries and is at the hospital as well. And so now we're gonna, I guess, head to the scene in Orlando. Is that what I'm hearing? So when I find out more information, I'll be sure to check in back with you guys.
Okay, honey, thank you. We are going to Kissimmee right now. This is near Orlando. This is a different shooting. This is not the same one here in Jacksonville. This is a different shooting in Kissimmee near Orlando where 2 officers have been shot and killed. We're going to listen live now to what they have to say.
Is in grave critical condition, and the prognosis does not look good. At this point, I'd ask you to please keep the men and women of the Kissimmee Police Department, the families of the fallen officers, the law enforcement personnel in the Central Florida area in your thoughts and prayers. This is a tough time for each one of us. I'm very appreciative of our Central Florida partners, the Osceola County Sheriff's Office, St. Cloud Police Department, the Orlando Police Department, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Federal Bureau of Investigation. They immediately responded to the scene tonight, gave us unlimited access to their resources. At this time, we have a strong suspect in custody that we are interviewing. We have 2 of the 3 persons that the officers checked out with in custody. We're still looking for the 3rd. I cannot divulge any more information on that as it is an ongoing investigation. At that point, I'd open it up for a couple of questions with the caveat that this is an ongoing investigation, so I will not be able to answer any questions specific to the investigation.
First of all, I'll say I'm sorry.
Thank you.
A horrific night all around. You said 2 of the 3 suspects they checked out are in custody, so that includes the 1 strong suspect?
We have the officers checked out with 3 individuals, and we have a 4th that we suspect of being involved in injuring the officers. That person is in custody, and 2 of the 3 that they originally checked out with are in custody.
The suspects in custody, did they have any firearms and weapons on them, and have they divulged any information at this point?
Again, at this point, I would just tell you that they're very strong. He's a very strong suspect in this case, and I can't really speak to the particulars of what he may or may not have been in possession of.
Chief, were the officers able to return fire at all?
No, sir. At this point, it does not look like they were able to. It looked like they were surprised.
What was the original incident?
Just checked out with persons in the area. This is an area where we do have some drug activity, so officers being proactive and maintaining their presence in the neighborhood to make sure that the residents are safe. So these gentlemen were out in the street area, and so they just checked out with them.
Chief, could you clarify what happened to your officers in ambush?
I'm sorry?
Would you consider what happened to the officers in ambush? Were they ambushed?
It's probably too early at this time, but it's leaning that way.
Chief, could you clarify which hospital each officer was at? Was here at Osceola Regional?
Both officers are here, as well as their families.
Are these officers uniformed officers or are they undercover?
Yes, ma'am. Both in full Kissimmee police uniform.
Now, a lot of police activity at the Roscoe's bar that we're hearing. Any connection, or can you say a little bit more, connect the dots for us?
Again, I know that we encountered one of the subjects that I spoke about in that area. I cannot speak to which of the persons that we are talking to now was located there.
Chief, it's such a tragedy what happened.
Absolutely. Both are husbands, both are fathers. I just left the hospital with our chaplains, a number of our personnel, a number of our elected officials, city manager, deputy city manager, all here in support of the families. Right now, as you can imagine, they are completely heartbroken, devastated. These were beloved fathers and husbands and sons, and so we are doing everything in our power to support them, the families, and get them through this time.
How are your fellow officers doing?
It's tough. I'll be honest with you. You know, although we're aware of what goes on, you know, in law enforcement across the nation, we haven't experienced this in over 25 years, and you know, they prepare for it, we train for it, but you know, nothing compares to what they're going through right now.
Speaking of what goes on around the country, so this happened here. 2 officers shot in Jacksonville, and getting word 2 officers shot in Pennsylvania. Just awful night. What are your thoughts on that?
It is. It's tragic. I don't know any of the details. I hadn't heard about Pennsylvania. I was aware of the information coming out of Jacksonville beyond 2 officers being shot. I don't have any more particulars, but it's, you know, it's a tough time in law enforcement. You know, we are here to protect and serve, and you know, this is getting tough. It's getting tough to do the job that we've all sworn to protect and uphold and maintain livable neighborhoods, keep people safe, and you know, these senseless acts are going on. This was just what appears to be a consensual encounter, a get out, check. Nobody was being placed in handcuffs. Just check on you. Do you belong in the area? Do you live here? If you know, if all things check out, the officers would have been on their way. But they're committed to this area, and you know, we get a number of calls from the citizens that live in that North Kissimmee area, and we got a lot of great community members there, and you know, they get tired of putting up with some of the drug dealing and nonsense that goes on in the neighborhood, and we're doing our part to try to keep them safe, and then we have this tonight.
Chief, were the officers wearing body armor?
Yes, sir.
Chief, we understand one of the officers was also married to another Kissimmee police officer.
Yes, sir.
He or she doing okay? The spouse doing?
As you know, it's again devastating for her and her family, and they have 3 young children.
Chief, I know that you're in pursuit of a 4th person at this time. Is there a public safety concern, threat to the community at this time?
Not at this time. I mean, you know, obviously this 3rd person we think was just in the original group and potentially a witness at this point. So we feel like we again have a strong suspect in custody, and this 3rd person, or I'm sorry, 4th person, I guess, we feel like may have information as to what happened.
Is it looking like that strong suspect, one person shot both officers?
Again, I'm not positive. It would indicate that right now we have one shooter.
Any indication what kind of firearm was used?
Not at this time, no, sir. All right, well, thank you very much. And again, please keep the men and women in law enforcement, as well as the family members tonight that are suffering from this tragedy, in your thoughts and prayers. And if anyone out there has information about what happened tonight that can lead to the apprehension or the conviction of the subject responsible, we'd appreciate your call and your information. Thank you.
Chief, before you go, question names one last time
Could you
so we
spell
don't
them?
mess these up.
Sam?
I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Go ahead. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sam Howard, SAMHOWARD, in grave critical condition. Matthew, MATTHEW, Baxter, BAXTER, he is deceased.
And which is the officer that is married to another KPD officer?
Matthew Baxter.
Baxter.
Okay.
And do you have their ages?
I do not.
All right, thank you.
If I have any updates, I'll let you guys know. Follow our Twitter feed. That's the best way you're going to get information from us.
Stay right there.
Hey guys, we are just learning from JSO that they will give us a briefing at around 1:30. It is now 1 in the morning. So again, in about 30 minutes, JSO is going to be able to give us more details as to what happened here on Seaboard Avenue and Timuquana. As you can see behind me, still a very active scene out here. More than a dozen patrol cars, crime scene vans. We didn't see any ambulances. However, witnesses did tell us that they saw at least 2 ambulances come by. They saw a JSO helicopter out in this area. They saw several patrol cars speed down this road here on Timuquana to get to the scene. I spoke to another witness who says police officers were possibly serving a warrant. We do know, confirmed by JSO, that there is a suspect and he was shot and he died at the hospital. There are 2 officers that were also injured. One is in critical condition and the other one was seriously hurt but is in stable condition as of now. So again, still a heavy police presence here on the scene. Possibly will be here for many more hours to come as police continue their investigation. It is unclear right now whether it took place at the gas station or close to the liquor store or an apartment complex or a home. We do not know because we are not able to cross the street since it's blocked off and give you a closer look at where that shooting happened. Exactly where that shooting happened, rather, because we know that we are in the area because there are so many police officers out here still. And so that is what I have on my end for now, Anthony. As far as JSO's Twitter is concerned, that is where they're telling us that they will be updating us with more information. Again, that last tweet from JSO is that there will be a media briefing at 1:30 here at the Family Dollar, which is actually where we have our news vehicle parked at. It's obviously closed at the moment, but there's a lot of people that have come out of their homes and nearby businesses just to look around and look at what's happening out here. Obviously, a lot of commotion out here, urgency as police continue to investigate what took place here earlier this evening.
All right, Hani, let's come back out. Hani, thank you. Let's come back out to me now. We can stay on the video, but I want to explain something very clearly because we switched from KISSIMMEE to Hani, but I need to make this clear to everyone at home. We're talking about 2 different situations. So if you've been watching that press conference that you just heard there, that was in KISSIMMEE near Orlando, where 2 officers were shot there. And we just learned from an update there from the chief of police that 1 officer has died. That officer's name is Matthew Baxter. 1 is in critical condition. That's Sam Howard. That is happening in KISSIMMEE near Orlando. That happened about an hour or so before this shooting. The shooting we're talking about here at home, this is over on the west side where 2 Jacksonville sheriff's officers were shot. 1 is in critical condition and 1 is said to be stable at this time. So these are 2 different situations. They just happened to happen in our state around the same time. And so that's why we've been following both stories for you, because what happened in KISSIMMEE, we brought that to you as breaking news during the 11, and we wanted to make sure that you were updated on that situation. So right now, I'm talking about what happened in KISSIMMEE near Orlando. We know at this time that Officer Matthew Baxter, he was the one who was killed. He served for 3 years on the force. Can we go back to that KISSIMMEE video, because I don't want to confuse our viewers at home right now exactly what's happening. So that video you're taking a look at right now, that's from KISSIMMEE, where Officer Matthew Baxter, he has been killed in the line of duty. He was served 3 years on the force. Officer Sam Howard is said to be gravely injured. He served for about 10 years. The chief, they're saying this is a tough time in law enforcement. In fact, someone asked him about what happened here in Jacksonville, and he's just saying that this is a tragic situation. It's a tough time. We are here to protect and serve. It's getting tough to do the job. And we understand that both of those officers there in Kissimmee were husbands and fathers. They're saying that this was a senseless act of violence tonight. And we know that they do have one suspect still on the loose in that situation in Kissimmee. But here at home, here in Jacksonville, we're learning that the suspect involved in that situation has died. He died at the hospital. One officer is in critical condition. One is said to be stable. We're going to get an update from JSO in about 30 minutes with more information about exactly what happened. We're hearing different sources telling us what may have happened out there, but we want to make sure that we bring you the latest accurate information, that we have the correct information for you before we pass that along to you. We do have a crew at the hospital. We're told that there is a heavy police presence there right now. That's usually the hospital where officers are taken to when they're injured. I understand that we have more sound from the scene here in Jacksonville from a witness who saw some things happen out there. Let's listen to that right now.
What did you see? What did you hear?
I was sitting at home and all of a sudden I heard a rapid succession of about 7 to 8 shots, and I started wondering what's going on. So I put on a different change of clothes, came downstairs, and by the time I came downstairs, there was JSO everywhere.
It's that Honey Rodriguez talked to earlier. There was one witness you just heard from there. Let's go ahead and listen to what another witness told us.
I was surprised and shocked. I was like, I could not believe that, this was taking place right here, right where I live. I mean, you actually see it on the news all the time in other areas, but not here. And now it's right here in our own neighborhood.
So this is happening over on the west side. This is Timaquana and Seaborn. You're taking a live look right now. We have a reporter there, Honey Rodriguez. She's been talking to people out there. We're still trying to learn more information tonight about exactly what happened, but this tweet right here from JSO, this is the latest tweet that we just got from them. It says a media briefing will be held at 1:30 at the media staging area. They're going to have it live. We're also going to have it live right here on NBC 12 and ABC 25. The staging area that's going to be on Seaboard Avenue is going to be at the Family Dollar. The media area, staging area, is going to be at the Family Dollar over on Timaquana Avenue, where the police officers were shot. We're told that was in the 5100 block of Seaboard Avenue. But JSO once again telling us the suspect was shot by police and has died at the hospital. But the officer right now, the officers involved in the shooting here in Jacksonville, one is said to be critical, one is said to be stable. JSO, they're asking for prayers for these people in our community who protect and serve us. Now, that situation that happened in Kissimmee, that's right there in the bottom half of your screen, that happened near Orlando. The police chief there saying basically it's getting hard to do the job because you never know what might happen. So you're taking a look right now at the different scenes that we have. We have one crew that's at the hospital watching the latest situation there. We have one crew over on the west side, and our affiliate near Orlando is covering the situation in Kissimmee, where one officer has died and one is said to be in grave critical condition out there. So once again, we are working to get the latest information for you tonight. If we can go back to that Kissimmee video there, since we just got an update from the police chief. Once again, they're saying that that was a heart-breaking loss out there, just a terrible situation to happen in their community. This all happened around 9:30. The Orange County Mayor, Teresa Jacobs, she's talking about a heartbreaking loss out there. This is just some information that's coming into our newsroom. Also, Florida Governor Rick Scott, he's also talking about the situation that's happening out there in Kissimmee. But I want to make it clear, this is separate from what's happening here at home. It just happened to happen all within a few hours of each other. So the video you're taking a look at right now, that's the large police presence out in Kissimmee, where one officer was killed and one officer is now in grave condition after being shot. We're told both officers out there, they were wearing body armor. They say that 3 or 4 suspects are in custody. They say there is a massive manhunt right now for one suspect that is happening at this hour. One of the officers was married to another officer. They have 3 young children at home. So you have to remember, these men and women who protect and serve us, they also have families. They're just like us. He says in Kissimmee, it doesn't appear that the officers were able to open fire out there. He's just saying that this is a senseless act of violence. No one was even going to be put in handcuffs when that happened out in Kissimmee. But we're taking another live look at our situation here on Jacksonville's west side over at Seaboard and Timuquana, where 2 JSO officers were shot. One is in critical condition, one is said to be stable. The suspect involved in this situation has been killed. That suspect died at the hospital. This is the 7th officer involved shooting in Jacksonville just this year. This is the information that I'm getting into the newsroom right now, but we're continuing to take a live look right there. You can see police officers still on the scene. That liquor store right there on the corner. Not sure if that was involved at all in this, but they have that street there blocked off. People continuing to kind of drive through that area, but we're just trying to get the latest information for you. I know we're going to learn more in about 15 to 20 minutes from JSO as they update us with the latest information. Melissa Buheda, spokesperson for JSO, is there on scene, and she's going to be sure and have a press conference for us in about 15 to 20 minutes at 1:30. That's video over there on the left side of your screen. That's UF Health. That's normally where officers are taken when they are injured. We've seen a heavy police presence over there. Haven't heard where Sheriff Mike Williams might be at this time, but we are just continuing to just kind of figure out exactly what happened and get the latest information for you. I see our Hani Rodriguez. She's stepping back in front of the camera. Let's go back to Hani now to see what she can tell us.
Hey, Anthony. Well, like I've been looking on my Twitter for any updates from JSO, and while I was doing that, there's some folks who have tweeted at me, a woman from California. She says that she actually has family members who work for JSO and asked me to stay on the scene and be her eyes for her. She's asked me if I know any of the names of the officers involved, and of course I do not. She's obviously concerned for her family members. She's wondering if they are the ones involved in the shooting. I unfortunately do not know that, but hopefully it is now 1:13, and at 1:30 JSO says that they are going to have an update for you, or for us rather. So as soon as I have information, I'll be on my Twitter. I will do a video for those people who are following me on Twitter, trying to keep up with what's going on here in Jacksonville. And so, you know, be on the lookout for those updates from me, at least on Twitter. Of course, we're going to have those on our website and on the air. And Anthony, I want to show you the scene here. Nothing has changed since we got on the scene about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. A lot of police officers still out here. We haven't seen any of them leave the scene as of now. If not, we've seen more vans come in and more patrol cars coming in as well. Again, police are continuing their investigation. We know that at least one suspect was shot dead. It died at the hospital, actually. Those 2 officers that were shot, one is in critical condition, another is in stable condition. As soon as we know how they're doing, we'll make sure to update you guys as well. Again, there's people reaching out to me on Twitter that are curious, and they're wondering if their family members are the ones involved in the shooting. Of course, they're praying and they're sending their thoughts to the JSO family here in Jacksonville, as well as those officers in Orlando who were also shot tonight. So a very sad night for JSO and for police officers in general. It's just really hard to do stories like this where, police officers who, as you mentioned, Anthony, are keeping us safe and, are being shot, the ones being shot at. And so, like I said, I'm going to be vigilant on my Twitter for any updates from JSO. We are still on the scene. I spoke to several witnesses who, are telling me different things. Some who heard 7 to 8 shots, others who saw ambulances and patrol cars speeding through to get to the scene. A man I spoke with telling me that police might have been serving a warrant. We are unsure exactly what happened, what led to that shooting earlier this evening. but that is what we're hearing from witnesses. Another person I spoke with says that there could have been more people involved, but so far we know the 2 officers that were shot and the suspect who was shot and killed and died at the hospital. So we're going to send it back to you guys in the studio for now, and as soon as we have that media briefing, I will make sure to have that live on Facebook and update you guys on Twitter as well.
All right, Hani, thank you for continuing to keep us updated out there from the scene. So we are expecting that briefing to happen in about 15 minutes. We are going to stay on the air and bring you that